Thanks, guys. Yeah, this is Yakkee, and I am Aaron. I was actually a Keller student here probably about 2 years ago, and then I was honored in a way that created the inspiration for this by being the only person in town when my great aunt Carolyn took a turn for the worst. I was the only one able to visit her. About 20 years before, she had suffered a stroke, and she could not speak and could only use one arm. And because I didn't really know her that well, it was really uncomfortable for me, but I was able to get her on FaceTime with her family and people she recognized, and it was a really powerful experience. But I used this phone, this very one, held it over her, made sure, you know, she was framed right and they could see her and she could see them. It was a beautiful experience, but the ride home, I always thought there's got to be a better way. And why didn't she have this like the last 10 years that she was in that hospital bed, you know? Like it was a really powerful experience for me. So this is what I came up with. It's basically a Skype and social network for residents of assisted living facilities and seniors and their families as well. So eventually, you know, grandkids and kids can sign up with, you know, their Facebook account or their Twitter account and things like that. Let's see. Let me just log in here real quick. And this is the front end once you sign in. And it's basically a directory of all the users, and you just search for them. So I'm going to search for someone now. Charles. We got who we're calling, right? But I can also do this. Charles. So, and then you click down here for what kind of actions you'd like, you know, how you'd like to converse with Charles. You have the option of video chat, and then once I get an API set up, you can actually call somebody on their phone or message them through this device. It does cost money, so I'd probably have to charge a subscription for it, unfortunately, but that's some of the options, and then we'll just call Charles here. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, wrong one. Hopefully Charles is signed in. Charles? Okay, we got the spinning wheel, and you do have to allow them to access your stuff, but there is Charles. All right. Now, I don't know, Charles, can you call me back on your phone? Charles, thank you. Yeah.
My alter ego.
Yeah. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you actually get a call, and I'm going to accept it. All right, there we go. No blue screen, awesome, okay. All right. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Oh, you know why I should get into this? So this was a web speech API as far as the technologies go, so it's a full mean stack. The users are saved on a user collection in a Mongo database. It's Angular and Express doing most of the routing. I used, what was it called, Materialized CSS, which I think you'll see on a lot of like Google apps. They use that kind of front-end framework. And that's what you created these great cards that you see like as far as the notifications go. Yeah, Node is the server, JavaScript throughout. So that's it. Do you guys have any questions?
Awesome job with this. Where do you look to take this into the future? potentially?
I'd actually really like to have this be like a set-top box where you don't have to have a keyboard or a mouse to interact with it. So it would basically be gesture recognition and voice recognition, where you basically just point at something until it triggers the function underneath, and then that's how you, basically, you know, something that Aunt Caroline could have used in her lifetime is what I'd like to do. But also, you know, folks that maybe just don't have any mobility, but they can speak, they can use, you know, the speech recognition API. And the beautiful thing about that is it can actually recognize words, so I can include closed captioning, you know, like when you're actually talking to somebody. I'd actually really like to have a say what button, so like if there's a word you keep saying and they can't understand, they push the say what button, and then it gives you a user input on your end, and you type exactly what you're saying, and then it feeds it back to their end, you know, just in case there's some communication issues. And have an app marketplace so that other developers that are inspired by this kind of thing can actually develop things for it and then put it onto this platform. Probably 100 other things that I'll think of when I'm trying to go to sleep, like every night, right? So, any other questions?
You talked about assisted living applications, that community. Are there other groups that you think this might work with?
You know, I'm actually really interested in what would happen, like, in the general public, like, who would actually embrace this more, because it'd be open to everybody, it has to be, you know. It is a peer-to-peer communication system as well, so, like, it doesn't go through a server, and it comes out through a HTTPS secure socket, so it's encrypted right out of your device. So, I mean, there's a lot of potential for just communicating in a way that feels safe for everybody and that you're not going to be listened in upon. So, yeah, it could be anywhere, which is another huge obstacle. Like, how do I manage the culture so that it's actually inviting to my primary audience without being discouraging to anybody else? You know, those are huge questions that I ask all the time. So, which I'd probably answer for a long time, you know, because it'll be an evolving thing. You know, as new things come up, then I have to find new solutions to new issues, I guess is the word. So, all right.